Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. So I got a DM the other day from one of my viewers. What's your best answer? Okay, this is with regards to circulating supply, and I have a feeling that many of you guys are probably wondering the same thing. I mean, generally speaking, if I get one DM regarding a question, I'm sure that means that at least 10 other people are thinking the same thing. Circulating supply of XRP has been an interesting and somewhat, controversial topic. There is currently 58.81 billion XRP currently circulating. Now, as you guys can see here, there is a bar, okay, a percentage bar. That is 58.82%, of course, because there's 100 billion XRP in existence of the max supply that will ever exist for XRP. So just over half, that is the current circulating supply. But the controversy starts here, okay? Why is it when calculating supply is calculated, it's always everything outside of the escrow? So don't forget, Ripple does hold some XRP in escrow. But there's also something else that this person does ask. Is your XRP circulating? Mine isn't. Brad Kimes' isn't. DAI's isn't. The 64 plus people I've turned onto XRP isn't as well. I think it's absolutely ludicrous for anyone to use a number where most investors' XRP is not circulating. I read an article that stated if you disregard hodlers, it's more like between 18 to 20 billion XRP. I don't know, but it ain't everything outside the escrow. We need some clarity here. So to this viewer, I'm going to try to explain, my best interpretation of this. Circulating supply, is the amount of XRP that is circulating in the ecosystem today in the world, okay? And, it'll go on exchanges. Companies may decide to hold it as well. The XRP that's in the escrow cannot be released even if Ripple wanted it to be released. It's a timed escrow, and it is timed to be released one time every month on the first of the month, and it is 1 billion XRP. Sometimes, all the time we get announcements that XRP has been released, and sometimes some of it is put back in escrow, just depending on what Ripple. We actually don't have a clear reason for this, but my guess is Ripple decides, okay, we need this much in the world right now, or we don't need this much. So let's re-escrow some and let's keep some back because it just doesn't need to be released right now. So sometimes it's 1 billion's released and then 800 up to 800 million is re-escrowed. So we do sometimes see that. Now, that's a timed escrow. And you notice this number does go up every single month by 1 billion XRP. So that means that is the official circulating supply number. Everything that is locked away, and it's timed, so it cannot be released even if we wanted it to. So that's different than hodlers, what this person does describe here, which brings me to my next point. If Brad Kimes and DAI and me and you and everybody else is hodling XRP, yes, technically, we may hold it for years and years and years, but at the drop of the hat, we can throw it on the exchange and sell it within minutes. So technically, although we are hodlers, unless we escrow it in a locked away escrow that is timed, technically it is circulating, even if we do still hodl it. Don't forget, guys, liquidity events bring the price of XRP shooting down. And, I'm just going to bring up this example here. When the SEC did sue Ripple, I mean, many people were thinking probably, oh, look, we're going to hodl our XRP for years and years and years. And then as soon as we got that announcement, it only took a few days, 4 days before XRP dropped significantly on that announcement. Now, that is circulating supply. Even if those people did plan to hold it for the long term, they made a split decision and sold it, bringing the price down 60%. So I hope that answers your question. I want to keep moving because we have gotten an updated ruling here from the lawsuit. James K. Filan posting this. Okay, this is from a couple of days ago now. The parties have renewed their request for an indicative ruling. So this is the latest if you guys are still following. Fred Rispoli commenting, in the newest saga of Ripple versus the SEC, I don't like this filing based on how obvious it was from Judge Torres' last ruling that she was pissed. Okay. So Judge Torres not too happy about what's going on in the moment. I recommend a long, detailed motion explaining the SEC's failures in crypto regulation and some apologies from Ripple for what it got tagged on. Instead, we got one paragraph on how other SEC dismissals and a paltry mention of the SEC Crypto Task Force. Oof. The parties cite enough law for the court to grant it, but they also did the same in the last one that was denied. This is pure discretion on Judge Torres whether to grant, and I don't think this gets it done, sadly. In my opinion, one of the rare whiffs we've seen in the legal acumen of Ripple's counsel. Fred Rispoli not too confident that this was the right decision moving forward. I'll be hopefully optimistic that Judge Torres reads the room and is willing to just get this case off her plate. Maybe that is how it's going to go down from here. But he says his confidence is low. That said, leaving the injunction in place is not the death knell. Ripple can still sell XRP to institutions. So again, business as usual for Ripple, just not in the same way they did pre-2018. Conservative institutions will be hesitant to get involved. More forward-thinking ones will not. So, we're seeing so much in terms of, more advancements on the XRP ledger. If you guys didn't catch the video I did yesterday, so much more is occurring. We did get, the whole week has been full of news, but I'll post yesterday's video up here in the top right-hand corner. Trident adding $500 million XRP reserve and the USDC now natively on the XRP ledger. So big news in terms of more adoption for the XRP ledger, therefore driving more demand for XRP. In terms of the lawsuit, though, specifically when it comes to Ripple and XRP, though, for us hodlers, it's not going to be a problem for the exchanges. They're not going to delist it again, nothing like that. But this is where we're at with this, okay? Eleanor Turret also commenting, the SEC and Ripple have jointly requested a Manhattan District Court to dissolve the injunction in their ongoing case and release the $125 million civil penalty held in escrow. They are proposing that $50 million be paid to the SEC, with the remaining funds returned to Ripple. This motion is the latest in the broader effort to settle the case, end the pending appeals and avoid further legal proceedings between the two parties. So both parties are on board with this. Fred Rispoli obviously gave his opinion. The courts need to do the right thing and end the SEC or end the XRP case for good, says XRP Crypto Wolf. End it now, says Kenny Nguyen. I think we all just at this point want this thing to go away. Another 3 months delay, says Presco here. Ian saying, anybody have all 5 pages? If you do look, I think it was in the description here, not Fred Rispoli, it was James K. Filan. I do link all these tweets in the description, so you can find the 5 pages in the description of this video if you guys are still looking. Bill Morgan also chiming in, just reading today's Ripple and SEC joint motion to Judge Torres over lunch. It does not become stronger and more impressive the more you read it. I just have a feeling she's going to grant the motion anyway. So Bill Morgan here, saying that she probably will. Okay, so in a joint motion, another one from Bill, in a joint motion filed today by the SEC and Ripple to show exceptional circumstances, the parties rely on authorities that have held that exceptional circumstances exist where modifications of a judgment is necessary to facilitate settlement that would obviate pending appeals and where relief from the judgment is a necessary condition of settlement. Okay, if the modification of the judgment to reduce the fine and dissolve the permanent injunction is a necessary condition of the settlement agreement, which it is, the corollary of Judge Torres not accepting this argument and allowing the motion is that a necessary condition of the settlement has not been satisfied and the settlement agreement will be able to be performed and at an end. I love how lawyers write paragraphs, by the way. That is one sentence. That is another one sentence. That should be like 3 or 4 sentences at least. If the motion is not allowed and the settlement agreement is not varied on a new settlement agreement entered, then there is no settlement on the appeal and cross appeal would continue. Yet for months, influencers have been saying that it is over, the case is over. It is not technically, for all intents and purposes. Why influencers say this, including myself, is, because we just care about, is XRP going to be stifled again in this bull run? Are we going to be able to profit off of it in this bull run? Is it going to be, delisted from exchanges? All those questions. But I guess technically, soon we still don't have a conclusion. So technically, yes, it is still in front of the courts, technically. Troy Dudley here saying, what do you think the odds are of Judge Annalisa Torres ruining against this motion? Ruining against this motion? I don't listen to influencers, but Stuart, he's the one that said it over and over again. That's where I heard it from. He did post on X just a little while back, and Bill Morgan did say, I think the judge will grant the motion. So hopefully we do see the judge grant the motion. The Matrix Killer here saying, hi, Bill, what would the outcome be in this situation? Bill Morgan responding here, perhaps a new settlement agreement. Ripple would need to make a hard decision whether or not to settle on the basis of the appeal and the cross appeal being dismissed and the permanent injunction remaining in place and the fine not being reduced. So at this point, it's only about a few things here. The fine being probably the biggest thing. Others are saying it's more of the same, and more of the same as the first filing. Did they not learn their lesson after Judge Torres' smackdown? How does that make any sense? And Bill Morgan responding, it addresses what they failed to address in the motion filed on May the 8th, 2025, so it has a higher chance of being granted. So, with every motion, we are fortunately getting closer and closer to a resolution. Hopefully that covers it. I've been doing this channel for quite a while now, and I never thought that I'd be talking about a lawsuit for as long as I have been. And, even after we did get some real kind of closure, I think, in the case, to a certain degree. I mean, not technically, but to a certain degree, when Jeremy Hogan was saying, peace out, I'm, no longer going to be talking about this. I felt like that was it, that we wouldn't really be talking about this more, but alas, here we are, and this is the situation. I mean, how many of you guys care about this? Maybe I shouldn't even be talking about this. Maybe nobody cares at all. Sherry Empress here. So this was from Fred Rispoli's tweet thread, responding a lot more information with regards to the case. Tipsy Tiger also commenting, could anything like this happen, Sherry? So he was responding to Sherry's tweet here. I'm with you on this one, Fred. I genuinely have been surprised by her response to the initial request. While I feel there is a slightly higher chance she'll come back with something more positive, I'm more concerned than I was before. So she says, if her response is much of the same as it was before, then nothing changes. Ripple must then decide if they wish to continue with their cross appeal or not. In the meantime, the injunction remains in place. So I think we're going to leave it at that. I will link everything here in the description of the video if you guys are interested in reading further, because Sherry does go on in depth here, responding to some more of these questions that she was asked. Anyway, let's focus on the positive, guys. President Donald Trump says he's working to create clear and simple market framework that will allow America to dominate Bitcoin and crypto. This is what we should be focusing on. Let's not perseverate on the negative. Here's what the President of the United States has to say.
At the Coinbase State of Crypto Summit, I'm delighted to speak to some of the greatest visionaries and pioneers in the fields of tech and finance who are working to build a future powered by crypto. Many have called me the first crypto president. That's an honor. I really do consider that a very big honor, actually. And starting on day one, we ended the Biden administration's war on crypto. It was an absolute war and very unfair. And we unleashed American innovators to do what you do best, lead the world into new frontiers. We ended Operation Choke Point 2.0. I created the first presidential working group on digital assets. I named a pro-freedom, pro-innovation SEC chair, a great man named Paul Atkins, and we created the U.S. Strategic Bitcoin Reserve and the United States Digital Asset Stockpile. But we are not done yet. My administration is working with Congress to pass the Genius Act, supporting the creation of dollar-backed stablecoins. And we also will be working to create clear and simple market frameworks that will allow America to dominate the future of crypto and Bitcoin. Congratulations to everyone at this exciting time in your industry and in our country's life. I wish you all the best of luck.
So creating the simple, clear market framework, guys, for the United States of America to thrive in Bitcoin and crypto. So not just focusing on Bitcoin or a strategic Bitcoin reserve, but looking at crypto as a whole. Of course, the real world utility is really what's going to change how we do business, how we pay for things, how so many things are going to change. The tokenization of everything, just to begin with, is going to be very difficult to comprehend, I think, for so many people just to begin with. And so, these companies have to make it work. And, with clear regulations, that's how it's going to get done. So it has to happen in this way, but we need the regulations first. Anyway, wanted to thank Watcher Guru, of course, Fred Rispoli, Sherry there, as well as Bill Morgan and Eleanor Turret, and James K. Filan for posting those. So we did get recent news that the USDC is now going to be native on the XRP ledger. Well, guys, this just came out yesterday too. Shopify is apparently going to enable USDC payments via Base across its checkout ecosystem. Shopify's integration of USDC aims to boost e-commerce, but draws scrutiny over limited blockchain interoperability. Well, maybe not anymore. Again, in yesterday's video, I did talk about how USDC is now available on 22 different blockchains. I suggest you check out that video if you guys haven't seen it yet. Shopify is rolling out support for USDC payments, allowing customers to pay with stablecoins via Shopify Payments and Shop Pay. The feature, developed in partnership with Coinbase and launching on the exchange exchange's base blockchain is available in early access starting this week and will expand to more merchants over the coming months. So initially, it's going to be on the base blockchain through Coinbase. But guys, this could extend to more blockchains coming soon. We do know Circle's USDC is already available on 22 blockchains, so it would be ridiculous to think that they won't harness the power of the interoperability if it's there already. According to Shopify CEO Toby Lutke, the integration is powered by a new smart contract-based payment protocol designed specifically for e-commerce. The system enables customers to pay in Circle's USDC, while merchants receive payouts in local fiat currencies by default unless they opt to retain USDC directly. And so, more operations should work this way, where you can just pay with your USDC from your phone, from your Exodus wallet or whatever, wherever you keep it. And you can pay merchants, and they should be able to convert it instantly, pretty much on the fly. I don't know why this doesn't exist yet, probably for tax purposes in certain countries, but there's an idea there that, I think eventually we are going to see things move in that direction. Stripe supported the backend integration, helping Spotify abstract away from complexity of crypto payments from the merchant experience. Lutke also noticed that the platform will support buyer incentives such as 1% cashback on USDC transactions in the future. So you will be getting cashback too for your USDC purchases. The move marks one of the most significant real-world commerce deployments of stablecoins to date, signaling a broader shift towards blockchain-based payment rails in mainstream retail. Despite the excitement surrounding the announcement, Shopify's decision to support USDC exclusively on Base, so that is where it gets a bit touchy. An Ethereum ETH Layer 2 network developed by Coinbase. This is the thing that drew the criticism from some people in the crypto community, okay? Where they favor broader interoperability. I mean, it makes complete sense. Why would you just keep it exclusive to one blockchain? Why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense. But I guess they have their reasons. Coinbase, I guess wants to get a head start on this. But eventually, I think, it's a cool announcement. At the end of the day, though, I feel like they kind of fell short on the interoperability thing. Exactly how CoinSlate does position this article, which is completely how I see this too. Anyway, that is the story there. We are getting more utility, though. I mean, that is positive. And, really what we're aiming for is that utility. For those asking, coming from Ashley Prosper, yes, it is possible for the SEC to approve multiple XRP ETFs in one day. So first, I think we probably need to see the end of this lawsuit. Lawsuit's still pending, but, when we do see the finale, it is possible, says Ashley, that the SEC could approve multiple XRP ETFs in one day. What's that going to do for price? The SEC approved the creation and listed 11 spot Bitcoin ETFs in January of 2024. The Bitcoin ETFs then experienced over $4 billion in inflows in just one day. This set a record for any ETF debut, but I think XRP will beat it by a mile. Don't forget, guys, there are way more XRP ETF filings than there were Bitcoin filings from if my memory serves me correctly. And let's not forget, January 10th, 2024, what did Bitcoin do after those ETFs were approved? Let's bring this up. January 10th. So really what we saw, the January 10th filings, here's January 10th. We did see Bitcoin. So Bitcoin did rally on the anticipation of the ETFs. I remember this very, very clearly. On the anticipation of the ETFs, then what happened? Bitcoin came down, and it actually gave a good opportunity for people to accumulate more at that point. Bitcoin did come down almost 20%, but from there, guys, what happened from there? Bitcoin rallied another 90%, so almost 100% just off the initial ETF news, and that is $4 billion in inflows in just one day alone. So the initial day we did see $4 billion. Over time, though, how long did that take? That was by March, so let's call it about 2 months. Bitcoin did go up 90%. Could you imagine if we do see, some kind of finale? And, if we just take it from the current price, which, we're still down a little bit. XRP going up 90% from here. We'll bring it past all-time high, not by much though. $4 roughly for one XRP, but I'll take $4 all day long, so long as we do see sustained momentum and we're set up for it. Look at all these ETF filings. There are so many that are in the hopper right now. I think how many total? I think something like 17 or 18 total. But it is a coordinated effort. Major banks are poised to accelerate digital asset and crypto services after the SAB 121 rescission. This courtesy of Bank XRP, and guys, this is Caroline Pham at the State of Crypto Summit 2025. She is at the CFTC. Here's what she has to say about, the digital asset landscape once that occurs.
Prohibited banks from engaging in digital asset activities without getting a letter of non-objection from the bank regulators. The infamous SAB 121, which I think the SEC forgot that banks are public companies and that banks custody things. So, clearly getting that rescinded by acting chairman Uyeda on the second day, I think, in office was huge. So banks can do these activities. Of course, JP Morgan has been very active in the digital asset space, as has BNY, as has Citi and all the other banks. It's been quiet. Now I think you're going to be able to see them really accelerate. So all of these projects that everybody's been working on since 2016, now we're going to start seeing more deployment, more volume, and so on and so forth. And a lot of it's been done, frankly, through portfolio companies and strategic equity investments, and so you'll see that deployment. But it's really the bank regulators and making sure, again, that the bank regulators are comfortable with the banks, with their risk governance frameworks, and then a lot's going to start to happen.
Investors are looking at their banks and banks are looking at the regulators. And so long as we do have that regulation in place, guys, it's going to happen. I think the domino effect will happen very quickly. We do need to get a lot of this Ripple SEC garbage, though, sorted out. It is just a matter of time. I do think we will see big moves for XRP, another impulsive move, I hope, whether we are in a speculative market or whether we do see that real world utility. I'm going to be talking about it over there at patreon.com/workingmoneychannel. So if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe to the Patreon. Also wanted to mention, if you guys are interested in purchasing some Working Money Channel merch, you can hop on over there to the Working Money Channel merch store. Link is in the description of the video, but that's just my opinion. I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.